Hello, and welcome to Talking Shop, a conversation with educational leaders. My name is Mike Randolph, and I am the proud principal of the Leesburg High School, and we are joined by our co-host, Martin Aftuck, the proud principal of Middleburg High School. Martin, how are you doing coming back from Hurricane Milton?
Man, we are getting caught up, missing a few days. I think I talked to a teacher today and I just kind of asked, how far behind are you? And he said about 5 days. I said, what are you going to do to make up for it? Just tell less jokes. So there we are. That's where we're at.
Again, good strategy there to, just find a way to get back into things. I can tell you our teachers are in the same boat. We've missed 4 instructional days so far, but what a blessing that we had the PD day on Friday to kind of let our teachers get settled in, right? And now we're trying to have our teachers really bring back our scholars with empathy and love. And again, love for us looks like holding our scholars to high expectations and accountability. So resetting those expectations for our scholars. But I am so excited to have Mrs. Stacia Werner join us today. Miss Stacia is the 2022 Florida Department of Education Assistant Principal of the Year, and she is currently serving as the proud principal of Tavares Elementary School. Stacia, how are you doing today, and how's your transition back?
Go Bull Pops! We're the Bull Pops.
Yes.
The transition back, I feel for you, Martin. Just being a Title I school, making sure our children, they weren't with us for those days. So letting the parents know, hey, we care what did happen to them while they weren't with us. And so we did a lot of reaching out to families and social media, like, hey, let us know if there's anything we can do, because we're in it together as a community. So I think, it's Wednesday now. We hit the ground running on Monday. We had some cleanup with a few trees, a few lost ceilings of some portables. But other than that, the typical Florida weather, it is what it is. And now we're back in the saddle, ready to go.
Oh, absolutely. So back in the saddle indeed. So I'm excited about today's guest and really talking about your educational journey, Stacia. So let's start there. How did you get to your current seat? Kind of talk about your educational journey.
So I can tell you that I am not your typical, I've always wanted to be a teacher, I always wanted to be a principal kind of person. I was that I can't sit still, ants in your pants kid that teachers sent to go take that empty folder somewhere because it was very important. And I'm sure my entire staff can tell you that. That's how I run a faculty meeting.
That seems to be a common theme with a lot of our guests, yeah.
I know, right?
But I was an athlete, and so it started out with my coaches seeing, when I was really focused on something, I was dedicated to it. I would put in extra hours on my own. I mean, I played college basketball, in high school. I would shoot baskets on my own for hours and hours in addition to 3-hour practices. So when I found something that I was really good at, I dedicated myself to it, and I had some coaches tell me that I'd be a great teacher because I would teach other people how to do some of those things. So fast forward, I became a PE teacher because I don't like to sit still and I don't like to be indoors. And so what better state to be a PE teacher in than in Florida? And so I started out my career as a Title I middle school PE teacher. And so I fell in love with middle school students, and I was coaching high school, coaching basketball and volleyball. And I wound up having some administrators really, they, again, committed to it, dedicated to it. And I thought, you'd be really good at, being an assistant principal and helping other teachers learn how to do things and like that. So fast forward, I was in Hillsborough County. I became a peer evaluator where I learned more about, what is classroom instruction? Because, instruction actually looks the same, and the different strategies are actually the same regardless of the content. And I didn't really understand that until I became this peer evaluator in Hillsborough County. It was a great opportunity to really open your eyes to all the things. And then life changed. I wound up in Lake County through, the grace of God and opportunity, became a district instructional coach and worked with first-year teachers. And so my ability to be at all these different sites and work at the district level, I was exposed to more teachers, more administrators who were just there's always been that person that's hey, you'd be really good at this. Hey, you'd be really good at this. That person that just kind of saw something in me and built it up. And so I decided when I became an assistant principal that I wanted to help other people do the same thing. I wanted to be that person that somebody was for me. And so, my husband's an 8th grade science teacher, and he convinced me to be an AP. And then he was like, well, we need people like you to be administrators, and then here I am. Here I am, elementary principal.
That's fantastic. So we talked a little bit about your educational journey. You actually taught in middle school and in high school, but you're serving as an assistant principal and principal in an elementary school. Can you talk about the differences in that transition going from secondary to leading an elementary school?
Absolutely. So, and also like content, right? So I was a PE teacher, and now I'm an instructional leader for, ELA games and things like that. Basically, I guess it was being a PE teacher, you got 65 kids all by yourself, so you get really good at classroom management, and you get really good at managing the classroom. And then I coached high school, so then now I'm getting good at dealing with older students, dealing with parents and different things. And so as I became an administrator, different opportunities arise. And I never, when I went through college, I didn't think I was going to do elementary because I like sports. Sports isn't necessarily associated with elementary. But what I found is I wound up with an opportunity to be a instructional coach for an elementary school before becoming an administrator. Sometimes, the right opportunity presents itself, and you have the faith and you go for it. And so I was blessed with the opportunity to be the testing coordinator and curriculum resource teacher, instructional coach for Treadway Elementary here in Lake County under Cindy Christitas was the principal. And I fell in love with the littles. I loved all the strategies and how much they need you. I wanted to make the world a better place, right? And what better place than they smile and they
Yes.
I don't know, they're just everywhere. They're like me, they got all this energy and they're all over the place. It was, it was like coming home. And so Cindy Christitas was one of those principals that saw something in me and asked me to be her assistant principal as we moved to another school in Lake County. And so it's kind of been an incredible but awesome adventure into elementary. So I never taught elementary by myself, but I learned so much just being, that's what our teachers need to know, is that we learn as much from them as they might learn from us.
That's so important to really convey that to our teachers as well. And, I know I was talking to a teacher today, and, I told her I'm not a math major, I'm an ELA major. But I've learned so much just from sitting in our math PLTs and just really seeing the detail that they put into their lesson planning and making sure that they have the right problems for our scholars to really get a different range of practice. So although I don't speak math, I've learned so much as an administrator about math and stepping out of my content area. Martin, I'll turn it over to you for the next question.
I think there are two things I would say I have used the most. One being the need to really be able to multitask and prioritize, So one of the things, you have so many things going on, especially like with team sports, there's all these different things coming at you at one time. And so really being able to stay calm under pressure and handle each thing as it comes at you and not get rattled. And I think what competitive sports teaches you is that you really have to learn about yourself, your perseverance, your grit, things that, you can do the things, right? We can do hard things. You hear that all the time. But you never know until you're challenged. We don't grow through the easy times. We grow through the challenges. And so what I feel like competitive sports does for students and for anybody is that it shows you what you're made of. Because you're not always going, no team wins every single game every single year. That's not how it works. And so you're going to have ups and you're going to have downs. And how you handle it is what makes the measure of a leader that you are. And I really, really enjoyed learning about myself in this journey and thriving in that way. And then the other thing is, I like the challenge. I'm competitive as all get out. I told my staff when I got named principal, I said, well, I need you to know that we're going to be the best elementary school in Lake County, if not the state of Florida. and I meant it. I want the whole world to know what great things that we do. And not just at my school. Like Lake County's incredible. teaching's incredible, you know, and so I guess it's my mission to let everybody know, like, yeah, we're pretty awesome.
That's awesome. And I love how you really talk about sharing that awesomeness and sharing of the amazing work that you do. Can you talk about a few ways of how do you share that with your community to make sure that your community knows what amazing things you guys are doing?
The first thing I would say is, especially as being the leader of the school, is being available, like being present. I want my community to know who I am and that I am there for them. Like I'm of service to them. So every morning I'm out in the front of the school welcoming students on campus. When parents come dropping off kids, I'm saying hello, I'm greeting them. I'm at all of the events. I want my families to know that I need them to know who I am, what I'm about, and how I can be of service to them. Mm-hmm. I've made sure to communicate through social media, through our website. I made an introduction video of myself and put it on social media so they can hear my voice, see my face, because I'm the call out every week. Oh my God, I make fun of it every time I talk to them. I'm like, all right, here's the annoying voice of your proud principal. Just like making sure I answer phone calls, you know, calling them back, being approachable. Mm-hmm. And I also, one thing, and my husband and I talk about all the time, I go to dinner in the community. Like we visit our local businesses. We want to be a part of the community and make sure we're supporting everyone.
So important that community support, because so often you'll hear principals really ask for that community support without necessarily giving that community support right back. So that's a great strategy, making sure to just be visible within your community, not just during the day, but after hours, so that they can see, yes, you're a person, yes, you have a family, but yes, you're invested in this community as well.
Oh, you can see me shopping at Winn-Dixie. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Important.
But I love the idea, too, of a video just to, like, show yourself before coming in. And that's so important, especially for elementary, I could imagine, because you have babies that are 5 years old coming in. So just being able to see the familiar face and having a familiar face and voice coming in, so important. Sorry about that, Martin.
That's okay. Well, and
no,
you know,
good.
right now I'm finishing up my ed specialist degree at the same time in leadership. So, you know, as I take each class, oh, that's a great idea. Let me try that idea. So I can tell you, I've been practicing my degree like every quarter. There's like, oh, let me try that. So I got that from one of my classes.
Nice. I might have to get some information.
Talk about your role.
Go ahead, Martin.
Ms. Werner, talk about transitioning, becoming a principal this year. We've, you know, just kind of, what did you look at when you took over this role? Going into, number one, as a new leader, then number two, going to a new school.
So I was blessed with the opportunity to move to be the AP before becoming the principal. So I was 3 years at Beverly Shores, nice. And then in order to make the transition smooth, I was moved to that school to be an AP for a year, learn about the community, which I have to tell you was an absolute blessing, because every community is different. They're different than where I was AP at previously, and I needed that time to learn more about them. I needed them to learn about me. That includes the faculty and staff. Had I come in without knowing anything about them, I probably would have made a lot different mistakes than, you know, everybody makes mistakes. But I really think that being the AP there the year before really helped me, because it opened my eyes to how different schools are. And sometimes I wonder, you know, having different experiences in multiple places really does help you. All right, I don't need to make all these changes all at once, because they can't handle all that. Like, really, like, what's the biggest bang for your buck? What do we want to focus on? And so building those relationships, I'm a huge relationships person. And so taking that time to build those relationships the year prior and then cultivating them. And it was my main focus my first year as principal was building relationships, building culture, and letting them see who I am.
Great strategy. And I love that you talked about taking time to really build a culture as well. And again, you took that time as an assistant principal, transitioning into principalship to build that culture within the school. Give us a few tips on how you build a positive school culture for not just your faculty, but for also your scholars as well.
So a strategy I use to build the community with the kids is being seen. I became a PE teacher because I don't like to be inside. So you can imagine what it feels like to be inside the office all the time. So my favorite thing every day is morning and afternoon. arrival and dismissal. And so I'm out there with my little music box as the kids get off the bus, and I greet every single child that comes into the cafeteria, and I say good morning, and I welcome them, and I compliment them. And I want the first face that they interact with on our campus to be positive. And so building the relationships with them now, like now that it's year 3 that I've been on this campus, the kids are smiling at me. If I'm having a bad day, they're cheering me up, you know? And so I think it starts with modeling what you want to see and really welcoming just personally, being a part of it. And the same thing goes, again, attending all of the events. I'm at all the events and I'm walking around. I almost feel, you know, like a little mayor, like, you know, mingling and asking
Yes.
how the families are. And, you know, the families that I've had the blessing of talking to over, you know, maybe some struggles, like checking back in with them. So I really believe it's being authentic and like doing that exchange of letting them know me, but also finding out more about them. And so being available. So when the kids see me, and again, they'll see me at Winn-Dixie and things, you know, oh, Miss Werner, I had breakfast this last weekend and somebody waved at me around the corner while I was eating pancakes. You know, being out of the office is one way. And then, you know, the other is being present with teachers and in the classrooms. So no, don't get up and come give me a hug. I'm watching. I want to see what you're learning. Show me how you're learning.
Yes.
And, you know, I'm not in here to watch the teacher. I'm here to see if you're learning, you know.
Yes.
And so changing that mindset of it's not an I gotcha on my teachers. It's a how can I help my teachers make sure you're learning. And so when we are out in the classrooms more often and helping, you know, show me what you're learning. Watching a kid get excited to show an administrator what they're learning is the coolest thing
Best
ever.
part. Yes.
And to me, it's a huge compliment to my teachers. Like that kid knows the purpose and the why they're learning something. And so I love sitting next to them, and I can't wait to send an email to a teacher saying, your kids, you know, they know exactly what they're doing and they were teaching me. I learned more math from 3rd graders, I can tell you. So.
And just how cool of an experience is that for your scholars to be able to teach their administrator, right? Like, that's really cool.
They get excited. Oh, a kindergartner showing me how to do a sentence. And Lord knows I have not learned hieroglyphics yet. But let me tell you about reading a sentence from a kindergartner in September. I'm learning all kinds of skills. But they will tell you a story and they will go left to right. And it is fantastic.
But again, you've built such a positive culture that it sounds like your scholars are waiting and anticipating for you to come in because, one, you're so visible. 2, you visit classrooms, so it's not a, whoa, Miss Warner's here, like, what's going on? It's just a part of the everyday. So that's so important for our scholars just to know that we are open practice in all of our schools, and we're just coming in not to get the teacher, but to make sure that our scholars are learning at a high level.
And especially like even with COVID, when I was in AP, I had to cover classes. Like we have to be able to do whatever we're asking everybody else to do. So you know what? I taught 4th grade ELA multiple days in a row to make, you know, and it's an incredible experience. They need to be able to see that we're just regular human beings like them, and we're in the classrooms, and you know, we value learning just like everybody else.
You said something earlier that really resonated right there. You talked about how you asked your teachers in your community, how can you serve them better? And that's a way of showing how you serve your community and how you serve your staff. So I can only imagine being a staff member at Tavares, being a bullpup, and seeing Miss Werner in a classroom next to me. That raises my game, right? That raises my expectation of what I'm doing in the classroom. So shout out to you, and thank you for that pro tip as well. So Martin, how's the connection?
There's someone digging out in my yard right now, so I don't think my internet's coming back. I went to the iPhone though. Can you guys hear me all right now?
We can hear you. Listen, thank you so much for jumping back on. This is Florida, so we are a few days out of a hurricane, right? So again, you know, power and internet is a little spotty at times. So Martin, I want to give you the chance to ask the next question.
So did you touch on your experience as being assistant principal of the year yet?
No. It's hard to talk about myself like that.
Let's talk about it, because that's a big deal. That's an award that typically, you know, that's a you know, it's a high honor, but also you know, the work you do, but then also the community. So talk about your experience as being the the assistant principal of the year. I think it was 2022, 23.
It's an incredible honor. I am speechless with the experience. The things that I got to do because of winning, that's a whole separate, oh my gosh, it is so eye-opening and just incredible. I still maintain that I did not win. I didn't do anything. I was blessed with being with an incredible school with children that were just hungry and teachers that believed in them. And all I did, and I mean this to the bottom, what do you need? How can I help cheerlead you up? All I did was make sure that everybody felt that they were in it together. And make sure they get that resource. What do you need? How can I help talk you off the ledge? How can I help remind you that you're an incredible professional? Keeping the teachers positive. Guys, I know you can learn. Get back in that class. No, we're not going to fool around today. Get back, tough love sometimes is, no, I love you. Get back in the class. It's an elementary school. We don't pass between classes. There shouldn't be a room for all these children in the hallway. That was the first part. So I fell in love with that school. I fell in love with the kids, and I gave them of myself. I think, honestly, we forget sometimes that the actual act of loving people goes a very long way. And if you don't know strategies or you don't know the magic formula of whatever, start with loving your people. Love the kids, love the adults, build relationships with the community. That is literally all I did. I don't, I'm a PE teacher at heart, right? That's how I started. And so what was I going to offer that school? And I asked them what they needed, and I did my best to give it to them. So I still maintain I did nothing but cheerlead. And then COVID hit. Yay, COVID.
The relationship building, the love, I took over a school during COVID. It was no fun. I can only imagine taking over a school during this lovely hurricane season we had this year, kind of the comparison. You touched on it, but what was the experience? What was the experience like? What did you have to do as the assistant principal of the year for the state of Florida? I know there's some travel involved. There's some other perks of it. Talk about it. Okay,
so first of all, going to the banquet and just having your picture up there. I'm sitting next to my husband. I'm like, that's me. And I don't ever do that, but it was my husband, so I had to rub it into him. But. Yeah. Being in that gala and having your name put up there, it felt good. It felt like a little bit of validation, all those 14-hour days and sleepless nights and working on the weekends. It felt like, yes, you did something right, and keep doing that, right? That's the fuel to want you to keep doing more. And so after that, I got the opportunity to go up to Tallahassee, which was really cool, being up there with the FDOE and meeting all that entire building, and all those people were phenomenal and fantastic. Got to go to an FSU game. And now remember, I'm a proud bull.
You're a USF, yes.
I am a USF bull. However, my older brother was a Seminole, so me getting to go to an FSU game and take pictures of myself and send it to him in real time was fantastic, because he's never been in the president's box. I'm just saying.
You got to go on the field, right?
Just saying.
I got to go in the field too. Yep. I got to be by the horse. I forget. All the FSU
Renegade
fans are going to be mad. Renegade, is that the sparkly guys, the garnet and gold guys that are all painted? Yeah, I have my pictures with that. Those are my two claim to fame. All the other professional stuff, but I got to be by those guys.
Cool.
I got to present for Impact Florida. So I actually created a session for administrators and district leaders about my journey into administration and turning an F elementary school into a C during COVID, which was really, really cool. Being in that room of 100 people and sharing the story of my students and my school was just profound. I don't even have words to describe it. And then getting to go to a couple of our conferences, really just in sharing the story. And then all of the people I met. I'm still connected with many teachers of the year. Oh, they're inspiring. I am connected with them on social media, and I look at all the things they're doing now. And I just think, well, why don't we have, we need more cohorts so that all the leaders too of the year, right?
100%.
We should have a cohort that meets every year that does stuff.
100%.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So I saw that recently Tavares Elementary School was just recognized as a gold STEM school as well. Can you tell us a little bit more about that award and what did it take to accomplish that?
So it's really, I'm married to a science teacher, so I have, a little bit of love for science. But the Golden STEAM Award, they have a bunch of just requirements for you to do. Like you have to have monthly meetings, you have to have K through 5 participation in monthly lessons, STEAM lessons. You have to have participation in the science fair. And it's just one of the greatest things that I learned from my husband is wanting everyone to become just understanding science a little bit more. And, why don't we have more females in STEM fields? And it starts with wanting all students to love science younger so that, why can't we have more female engineers? If you look at all the percentages of females in engineer programs in college, it's like 2%. No, not acceptable. So just honestly, trying to get students to fall in love with not just, like math or reading. Like there's more to it. And so I've got a great math science coach who absolutely loves science too. We've got some incredible, our teacher of the year this year is a math science teacher who is one of our STEAM club.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, yeah. And when I became principal, I changed our technology lab into the STEAM lab. Now, it is the one that lost the roof during the hurricane. I cannot tell a lie.
Oh.
So, pivot. We put her in a different portable and like carried all the things. We'll replace it later. But science, there's so many really cool hands-on learning that kids can do that you can tie in reading and you can tie in math and you can tie in the creativity. And so just getting that love of science just broadens everybody's horizon and gives them more to look forward to in the future.
Awesome.
That's outstanding. And yes, that was the Golden STEAM Award and not STEM,
Golden
right?
STEAM
Yes, STEAM, yes.
Yeah, STEAM, because you have to have art in there. You have to,
Yes, you have to have
the
art.
creativity piece.
Yes, yes. And my art teachers do not come after me. My apologies. Wanted to make that correction. It is STEAM, not just STEM anymore.
STEAM, not just STEM, STEAM.
Yes. So this is my favorite question, and we'll kind of wrap up today's segment with this. At the end of the year, at the end of the 24-25 school year in May, when you're sitting somewhere having dinner with a best friend, you're going to turn to your best friend and say, I just had the most amazing year. What has to happen over the next 8-9 months for that to occur?
Wow, what a great question. I can say it now. I don't know that there's a thing I expect. I love being a principal. I love what we do. I love my school. What we do is hard, but when we do it together, man, it's magic. So I can't say that there's a thing. I'll just say that like we made it and this group of kids did great and look at my amazing staff. I don't have a thing I'm looking for.
That's awesome.
I will just be proud when we are there together to close out another great year of community.
Well, let me tell you, that's an outstanding piece of advice, too, because sometimes people really hone into, it has to be this, it has to be one thing. No. It's completing this year together, right? And you said something earlier, the act of loving people goes a long way. And it is so evident how much you love your scholars, love your teachers, and love your staff members. And again, I'm learning from you just how to love more and really love our teachers, love our people. And again, love doesn't mean just giving them anything and letting them do anything. It's loving with that accountability that you talked about. So thank you for sharing that. That's insight that I think everyone needs to be reminded of, especially as we return from a hurricane, depending on where you are catching this podcast. So,
well, now don't forget this. Okay, so our theme this year was Believe to Achieve, because remember I told you that I was competitive. Oh, we're going from C to an A. That's so
Love
believe,
it.
achieve, and the A is in the You watch me. We're an A. Now I'm not focused on that, but when it happens, I will be calling you both back.
Absolutely.
We'll have
Listen,
you
we
on.
will be right here. So
And
with
I love
that,
that
talk
it's
about
process oriented. It is process oriented. Those things happen. You do the right things, and you're going to be an A.
exactly. Really quick, Stacia, talk about your goals that are going to lead your work this year, your glows.
Okay, so especially with Title I schools and looking at the opportunity myth, and looking at everything, our 3 focus goals were obviously attendance. You can't teach them if they're not at school. And so how are we going to make sure that school is the place to be? Remember, like, I'm out there greeting them. I want children to want to be here. I want them to want to learn and enjoy the process. So that's why just trying to lighten it up, even though they do serious work, is also like, it's okay to enjoy what you're doing too. Reminding them that. So getting kids in seats, getting kids here on campus, reminding the community that school is important and we're here for you. So that was our first one. Our second one is making sure that students are doing, I call it doing the do, that they're doing the learning, they're doing the work. And so we've got kids with standards aligned tasks in hand. How are they processing the learning? And so aligned with Florida's best standards, making sure it's high expectations, that it's on grade level. And then the last one is small group instruction, making sure that our teachers have that small, tight-knit little group that they know, very targeted. Our teachers know everything about these kids. They know them so well. So when they pull that small group, they know exactly how to scaffold and help every single kid. And that is where the magic happens. So standards aligned tasks, student small group instruction, and making sure they're at school.
Wow. Awesome. Those are 3 great goals for any school to have. So thank you for sharing those goals that are going to lead your work for this year. I'm excited to continue to watch your journey. Again, I am blessed to be able to serve alongside in the principalship role with you here in Lake County. And again, just watching you continue to shine and glow has been a treat for me. And again, I've learned so much just from this interaction today. So Stacia, thank you so much for joining us today. So again, that was Talking Shop, a conversation with educational leaders. My name is Mike Randolph, and I'm the proud principal of the Leesburg High School, joined by my co-host, Martin Aftuck, the proud principal of Middleburg High School. And we have our guest today, the 2022 Florida Department of Education Assistant Principal of the Year, and currently serving as the proud principal of Tavares Elementary School, Ms. Stacia Werner. Thank you so much, Stacia, for coming on today and joining us.
Thank you. It's an honor, you guys. I thank you so much. I love having my time with you guys.
Yes, ma'am. And as for that, have a great day and go Jackets.
Go Broncos.
Go Bo Pops.